which may be one of the more unique venues for postseason play in college football. And it's really turned out to be a good thing for college football, the Big Ten and the ACC getting together on this one. Because 2 years ago, it was a Penn State-Boston College game that went to overtime. Great game. Last year went into overtime. Duke, Indiana, Blue Devils pulled that one out like 44-41. And we may have more of the same here. We've got two teams that off the top of your head you wouldn't think of as being explosive teams, but that's what it turned out for both Northwestern, but especially Pitt this year. And if you don't believe me, check out the box score against Syracuse, 76-61. Pitt threw it well in the second half of the season. They put up 43 in a win against Clemson. And here's a team that's, I believe, the only team in America that defeated Penn State and Clemson, two of the top 5 teams in America. So Pitt's 23rd ranked in the country, taking on a Northwestern team that is 6-6.
Yeah, Pitt had a couple of strange losses in there. I mean, the one that sticks out to me, obviously, is the game against Miami, because you do have a couple of big wins on the schedule. The Penn State win obviously looks a lot better than it did early in the season when it happened. But then for Pittsburgh to come back towards the end of the year in early November, find a way to upset Clemson in Death Valley, obviously the biggest win of Pat Narduzzi's tenure there at Pittsburgh. The story in this game is obviously James Conner, the running back for Pittsburgh. Best story in college football, coming back from knee injury and leukemia. The guy's been unbelievable. Comes back, and it's like he never missed a beat. Over 1,000 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns this year. This will be his final collegiate game as he moves on to the NFL. Pittsburgh loves to hang their hat on the run. Nate Peterman's been really good at quarterback, to his credit. 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 2,600 yards passing on the year. But James Conner's the real story here. If Northwestern doesn't find a way to bottle him up, it's going to be a long afternoon for them. Looking at Northwestern, they have Clayton Thorson at quarterback. They're a team that really likes to throw and run the ball. They like to really stay balanced. Thorson, 2,900 yards passing. He had 21 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, so he's been very good in his own right. Justin Jackson, 1,300 yards even on the year, 12 touchdowns. So Northwestern's offense can keep up with Pittsburgh's offense, and it's funny that we can say that now. Pittsburgh's offense in years past has not scored nearly as many points as they have this year. It's been really unbelievable to watch them kind of develop as the season's gone on. Really a team that started as a quietly developing offense is now extremely explosive, especially when you consider Quadri Henderson on the outside and everything that he's been able to do, not only in the jet sweep game, but also in the short passing game, and also on special teams doing punt and kick returns as well. So he's really been the game-breaking player for them that you'll definitely have to watch in this game. Northwestern has one of those in their own right. On the outside, Austin Carr is the guy that Thorson obviously throws to most. Carr's got 1,200 yards receiving and 12 touchdowns on the year. He's been spectacular, one of the better receivers in the Big Ten that nobody really hears about. Northwestern's got a good team. They're 6-6, obviously playing in a very tough conference. But the reason why I'm picking Pittsburgh is because I think their defense is going to find a way in this game. Something that usually you can use to support Pittsburgh. Not really in this case, considering what you brought up, that 76-61 victory over Syracuse to close the year. You would have thought that game was a basketball score now as we get close to ACC basketball play. But when looking at Pittsburgh, I think their defense is actually going to make enough plays here, force Thorson into a couple of turnovers. I think that's going to be the difference in the game. And if you've never watched the Pinstripe Bowl there at Yankee Stadium, one of the cooler venues in all of sports to host a football game, definitely recommend it, even if you're not a fan of these two teams. If you have a little bit of time to even catch part of this game, definitely do it. It's a really, really cool venue there, having the football game at Yankee Stadium, like you mentioned, Mark.
Cool venue, maybe a cold venue. It might be a little bit frigid, of course, and not your typical bowl setting when it comes to weather, but yes, very cool. And what is delivered, as I mentioned off the top, in recent years, 2 overtime games against the Big Ten and the ACC. While you were breaking things down, Mike, we were looking at highlights from the North Carolina Pitt game, and that was pretty much a microcosm of Pitt's season right there. We saw the good and we saw the bad. We saw the explosive offense and a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter, and then we saw the defense give it away and the secondary not be able to handle one of the better wide receiver cores in the country. Northwestern, not the caliber of North Carolina, but you mentioned Austin Carr, and he's prolific. And so it'll be interesting to see those two teams get it on.